Alright, hello once again, and today we're going to focus on this right here. This is a robot arm made out of aluminum I made for a big humanoid robot that I'm in the progress of building. As you can see right now, it doesn't really have any actuators on it. I was thinking about using cordless drill motors or something of the such for this motion, but we don't have a hand right here. And I've spaced a bunch of holes, 1 inch each. Believe it or not, I actually had to drill every single hole here, and I did that to make it easier to mount things onto this piece. One such thing that I've been thinking about putting on is a servo motor. I don't really want to use this one right here just because it's not very powerful. This is an old Radio Shack one, I think, but I could get some stronger ones and they would mount in the same frame. So in order to mount this, which is what is going to be the problem facing us in this video, we got to use this piece of aluminum. I'm going to try to avoid having to order servo mounting brackets that are professionally made. When you get those, they are kind of expensive and I don't have very much money right now. This was free, I had it lying around. But one concern that I do have is this is a bit thinner material than a professionally made bracket would be, but it should work. So let's take some basic measurements as to do this correctly. It should be a uniform measurement as it is right now, but just to check, I'll get a Sharpie, a ruler, and a pencil. Let's get a pencil right here. Okay, so we got all of our basic required instruments to do this. So let's measure some stuff out. Bring the camera in closer so you can see. But okay, a servo is pretty much exactly 1.5 inches by 1 inch. So it's 1.5 inches by, let's say, 1 inch to this piece, but we want to go a little bit farther, so we're gonna say 1 inch and 1/16, I guess. So let's measure this piece right now. So 1.5 inches is what we want it to go across, but we need some way to mount it. So these go 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. So this could actually center in between 2 holes. So there and there, with a hole in the middle. So this is going to be, so from center to center of this, it's 2 inches. We want to have 1/2 inch in between each one. So let's say 3 inches is what we want. So let's measure it out. And when we measure this, we want to make sure we do it with as much precision as we can. So how I like to do is make the marks in pencil and go over them in a bit of Sharpie. This is a pretty big Sharpie. If you're going to do this yourself, maybe use a smaller one. That shows up on camera just fine. So, okay, so we have this, and one thing which we want to make sure is that you have enough room to bend this up. So this is about 0.75 inches, but in reality we want about 1 inch. So it's more important to be able to have pieces to hook onto here than it is just space right there. So we're going to prioritize the actual bracket part. If If you don't know what that means, you'll see in a minute. Move this aside so our ruler can be flat, lying across. Let's use our mark as a straight edge. So 1 inch is right here. This actually means a lot of the space we're going to be using is going to be just a little hook piece. So let's do the same thing right here. And we can center it up a little bit and then Sharpie. Okay, nice straight line. So when we mount the servo, it's going to be kind of like that, and then we'll have your little pieces going up. Okay, so now we actually have to have our little pieces so we can bend them up. Yeah. So in order to do that, let's measure this again. 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches compared to 3 inches. So 3 inches and 1.5 inches. So it's basically just twice as long as the other one. So how we want to measure that is we want to have half of it, but it has to be centered. So the center of 3 inches is conveniently, once again, 1.5 inches. So in order to do this, let's do 0.75 inches on either side. Should be good enough. 0.75 inches on either side. So you got this here and here. And so yeah, let's do it on this side too, just to make sure we don't have lines that are a bit messed up. So 0.75 inches on this side, yeah, there. 0.75 inches on this side, yeah, there. Nice thing about making your own brackets is you can do them however you prefer to like. You make it longer or shorter depending on how much material you have. And if this one doesn't work, maybe I'll make it out of steel, actually. So we got our center line in these pieces. I didn't mark these pieces, I just use them for our straight edge bits. So let's get out our pair of snips. You can use basic tin snips for this one. Don't use a saw because that would be a bad use of resources. So we got our big snips. Yum yum yum. Okay. So let's separate this. If this works out well, we can actually get a lot of servo brackets using this piece of metal. Okay, now we want to cut out some pieces. So let's cut out the piece in the middle. So here comes the interesting part. We got to bend some of these upward. So to do this, I think the best idea would be to use some pliers. Go back to the tools and get some pliers. While I was at it, I got some files too, because this might be a little bit sharp. Aluminum usually isn't that sharp, but still. Okay, so we can bend it up, and yeah. Yeah. This is pretty rough right now, but let's use this as a straight edge. So, yeah, when you bend things, bend them against the table, not against your hand. Just for a cleaner edge. So, yeah, we got our pieces here. Okay. So. Yeah. So this, I think we're gonna have to cut it some more, I guess. So to get it to fit in between here and here. Okay. So it's not exactly that measurement, but it's okay, I guess. We can just snip some more. This time, oh yeah, I see. We didn't cut behind the Sharpie line. Make sure to do that. Even still, I don't think it's going to be enough, but. And when you make small incisions, it just comes off. Yeah, so if you're using thick Sharpie, make sure to cut behind the Sharpie line a little bit more. A little bit more actually is what we need to do as far as cutting here. This is just a test piece. I'm gonna do something a bit more professionally later, but okay. So the theory of what we want here is just to have a little piece right here. And so, yeah, this isn't the most ideal piece, but find it and just mount it right here. So let me clean this up a little bit, drill out all the necessary holes, and I'll come back to you when we have our final piece. Okay.